Bombay, Nikita.
Thank you.
It's so lovely to have you.
It's lovely to have you here.
So the last time we met was we did a
Last
Facebook Live for your previous novel, which was
Yeah.
Letters to My Ex. Tell us about everything that has happened since.
In my life, a lot has happened in my life ever since. I wrote letters to my ex when I was living in New York. I had been living there for almost 4 years. I went there for my master's, and one thing led to another. I was doing a full-time job, which I'm still doing, but remotely. So I've become something of a digital nomad. I live all over wherever I want to go. In the past few months, I spent a month in New York, and then I spent a month in California, and then Vancouver. Now I'm here, and after all of this is over, I'm going to South Europe, which I've never been to. So that's what's happening in my real life.
So this is why people don't come. Because
I'm
tell them about how wonderful
You
your life
asked me.
is, and they are all like, God damn it, I have to work 9 to 5.
I do.
In an
I work
office.
9 to 5 too, but not in an office. I don't even have an office, so maybe you have that on me. Like, yeah, you know. Don't even have it.
So let's talk about the reason why we are all here, and the reason is you. Thank you. I worked that in very organically, which is your latest novel. And I just want to ask you first about the title. What happened? Was Despacito taken?
Yeah. So I really tried. Despacito was the copyright didn't work for me because they just would not allow me to use that.
So you decided to put this other song in everybody's head that refuses to go.
Exactly. Like no one pays attention to the song anymore, and I just wanted people to come back to it. And then, you know.
Very noble. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a big heart, so.
On a serious note though, let's talk about your book. Of course, I finished reading it last night. But for those of us here who haven't read it, what is it about?
So the reason is you. I'll go back to your previous question and answer it more seriously. The title came from just the idea that no matter what is happening in your life, you want something or the other to blame, and you think that you are not in control, and there are all these circumstances that you're put in, and that you have to accept the situation. But I think if you just switch your perspective a little bit, you can be in the same situation and see it differently and make it more bearable. So that's where I thought of the reason is you. Also apart from the song, that it's up to you to decide how you look at what's happening, because the facts will remain the same, but the way you approach them kind of if you put a positive spin on something negative, you can make it more bearable that way and even enjoyable. Like what I just said, that I've been a digital nomad, that was not a part of my plan. I was very happy where I was and what I was doing. But then someone called Donald Trump happened, and all of these like crazy, like last year was not easy for me. It was like constant not knowing what was going to happen. And I'm someone who finds immense comfort in just certainty, and I always know what's going on. I don't plan super far ahead, but I know what's going to happen in the next year or so. I know my plans. I know what I want from. And last year, 2018, I entered that year being all like, oh, this is my year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I came to India in February for the book. And I was not able to go back because of all the crap that happened. And with no fault of my own, with a visa that was valid until like 2020, all this like crap happened. Anyway, so then I had to decide how to deal with it. So being in India, I was working crazy hours for my company because they are on New York time zone, and I was here, so I was working 4 p.m. to like 1 or 2 a.m. and then every single day, and I was trying to. That was the period where I wrote this book, and I really thought about perspective, and it was a situation that we really fought, but in the end, I realized that I was the one who walked away from it before we even got to a point where we would get a final rejection, because it was just uncertainty, everything up in the air. And I had to take control. I was like, this is not how my life was supposed to be. I'm not going to let this asshole, sorry, can we say that on your channel? Okay, sorry, this is
Maybe
not
then
that.
someone will watch it.
Okay, I didn't want this. I don't want to call him a human, but whoever, this orange person sitting in the White House to determine how my everyday life was going to be. I didn't want to, I was just tired. I was sick and tired of being just angry and sad. And I talked to my boss. I was like, I've been working for you remotely for these many months. I can keep doing it, or I can come back and I can hire someone, train someone to take over my job. And they were just happy with everything that I had been able to do remotely, and they wanted to keep me on. So now I'm in this unique position where I'm still working for that job and I can be anywhere I want. But it didn't happen by itself. I was the one who put that spin on it, and I'm like, oh, now I'm a digital nomad. But I, So yeah, coming back to the title of the book, The Reason Is You, that's where the title for me came from. And another thing, with all this happening, obviously you didn't see a lot of it on my social media, because I'm not comfortable really sharing, just like my personal feelings as much, because I don't want it to be served up for any kinds of questions and comments and all that. It's hard to sort of talk about it every day. So then I didn't do that. And so if you just look at my Instagram or whatever platform, you would think that, oh, she's living a fabulous life, but you don't know what's happening under that surface. So that's where the idea of mental health and really talking about what's going on under, behind closed doors came from.
Well, that's actually a great segue to the next question that I was going to ask. And also, I must say that that's true for all of us, isn't it? We all put our best life forward on Instagram, but underneath all of that is just
no, but I think you actually do a better job than most people, including me. No, I'm serious, because she talks about real concerns too. It's not all just roses. She talks about the real struggles and all the things that she goes through, instead of just making it, because we can't at this point, I don't think we can just afford to put the highlight reel of our life on social media anymore, because then someone who's having a bad day goes on social media and then they compare themselves and they feel worse, and that has happened to all of us. And if maybe even 10 years ago and much longer ago, if you think about 50 years ago, you lived in a small community, you knew 50, 60 people tops, so everybody was the best at something or the other. And now anything that you can do, someone on Instagram is doing it better. So then you are undermining your own self, and then that leads to all this, you think less of yourself, your self-worth just takes a hit, and all of this happens it's just, social media really is the gutter of the internet.
You should start talking about this then, no?
I do sometimes. I talk about it in my book, and I'm talking about it right now.
It feels to me that a lot of that personal expression you save for your books.
Yeah.
Right? And
because it creates an environment that's safe for me.
Yeah.
I know that someone took the time and effort to buy the book and is sitting with the book and has his attention on the book, as opposed to being on your feed when you're just scrolling through and you're like, I don't want to hear her sob story, So yeah, that's my defense mechanism.
And it's quite a good one, because I finished reading this book and I was surprised by how hard-hitting some of the themes were. So even though it's a romance novel per se, there is grief and loss. There's mental illness, like how to deal with depression, and there's also a very strong theme of mistakes, forgiveness, and redemption. So let's start with mental illness. Because the lead character in this book, Akriti, she suffers from depression, and you see her go through various stages of it. There are ups and there are downs, and so I just want to know, did you set out to write about depression? Did it come naturally? What was the inspiration?
I just, with her situation, I think depression and mental illness came after the first premise, which for me was the constraints of just traditional relationships, where you see someone and then you decide that I like her and she's my wife now and I'm spending my life with her. And then there's just a set of rules and regulations that we are together now and like this is how we're supposed to be and these are the boundaries. And we don't leave any room for individuality in that sense. So then I wanted to put these characters who met on that date when she gets the phone call that her dad had passed away during that date. And then they barely know each other, but in that intense sort of environment, they are thrown together and they're supporting each other, they're helping, like he's there for her and they decide that this must be love and we are together now and you're my girlfriend and I'm your boyfriend and these are the things that these are the tasks that you were supposed to perform every day for me. And that's just unfair in that situation. Add to that what's going on with her in her life, and that's when mental illness came, because I wanted then to talk about what was really, I wanted to talk about loss forever, and it's really hard for me to, as a topic, to write about, as you can imagine, like anyone who loses a family member or someone that they love, it's really hard to write about, it's really hard to read about. And that leading to the sense of like this, she's completely lost. She doesn't know where she's going, what's going on with her life, and in that situation include a new relationship. And just that mix was what was challenging to me and what was fascinating to me.
So I actually do speak about my struggles with mental illness a lot on social media. I haven't in recent time because I've been really busy planning a wedding, which is definitely going to lead to more mental illness.
She's getting married. She's getting married next month.
Wedding planning sucks. Anyway.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. I have a question on monogamy for you next. But when I was reading the book, I found Akriti very hard to like, but very easy to empathize with. And I thought that you did a very commendable job there, because she goes through such a long range of emotions and it's so hard to keep up, and yet somewhere you're like, I feel for her. No, I don't feel sorry for her, but I feel like I understand.
You understand her situation.
Yes. So I just want to ask, how much of that was personal? Where did you get the character? How did you research? How did you do research for her?
So Akriti, even though like starting out, when I was thinking about this book, when I was planning it, it was supposed to be a love story. It was supposed to take the story forward from where we left in like a love song for Mahi and Siddhant. But I wanted the additional element that I was going to add to it, because they have moved forward from where we left off then, and they must be seeing someone new or something must be happening. That's how I thought of Akriti. But then I didn't want her to be a supporting character. I wanted her to be the central. And then now this book is just about Akriti. And if you think about it, Mahi and Siddhant are kind of like the side characters.
Don't give away too much.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know how to do this. It's my first book. So anyway, so Akriti became a central character, and I didn't want her just to make some kind of a love triangle. That was not the intention. I wanted her to be a person who is like a wholesome person who has a wide range of like things happening in her own life. And that's when I wanted to talk about, and then I've always been wanting to talk about loss. So then I added the two together. I merged them, and then she became this person who was dealing with all these things that I feel like anyone who has lost someone in their lives has felt in different it's probably not exactly the same for everyone, because I feel like your individuality and your own personality kind of comes to surface. All the extremes of your behavior when you're going through something as intense as depression, like she goes through after the loss of her dad. And I have faced it in completely different, like it's the same theme but a different plot in book terms. So I've been through it. I've been hard to love. I've been in situations where, well, my boyfriend at the time was just like a, there are some people who are good people who make mistakes, and then there's some people who are just rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
do know that.
so he was just like a bad
Wait for my
person.
book.
He was just a bad person. He would say things to me. I was what? I was 19, and I was.
You're not 19 now?
No, I grew up, guys. I'm old. But he would say things to me like, you're just spreading misery all the time, and like all kinds of crap. And he was what 6 years older to me. So it was, now when I think about it, now that I'm his age, I'm like, I would never, like, I can't imagine saying that to someone who I lost my sister like 2 months before that, and he was just horrible about it. And anyway, so I didn't have that kind of support system or anything around me because everybody was dealing with it at the same time, like my entire family. We didn't even know how to be family anymore. We didn't know how to talk to each other, or just like at the dinner table, no one was talking. It was just horrible. And dealing with that myself, that's when I thought that Akriti needs someone to, and it doesn't have to be someone who's in love with her. It just has to be someone who's just like an innocent bystander at first, and that's how like all this the concept began. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was going to ask you about why you chose grief to be the the inciting incident for her life, but that one pretty much answered
We covered,
itself.
yeah.
So then I'm going to talk to you about, you spoke about what the traditional boundaries of a relationship are. Like there are, once you're boyfriend and girlfriend, there are rules and you have to perform X, Y, Z duties for each other.
And then social media doesn't help because someone else's boyfriend is doing something great, so you should match it.
Or for that matter, romance novels, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I always...
Traditional romance novels,
Traditional romance
yeah,
novels,
of course.
Yeah. So I always ask, every time I meet a romance novel, I ask them that if they think they're peddling a fantasy, because real world with its many machinations is so different from those 200 pages which captures possibly the best time of a relationship.
Yeah.
Or the 2 hours of a movie, a rom-com which captures the best time. Nobody talks about the struggles of making monogamy work.
Two people getting married, but that's when it starts. So like,
So do you think that romance novelists are peddling a fantasy or an aspiration, or do you think that is that the role of romance novelists to create that bubble? What are your thoughts?
It's not just a bed of roses anymore. People are talking about real things. People are talking about wholesome characters who have personalities. We are talking about individuals now. We are not talking about stereotypes. So that's one. And the other thing is, even with this book, there was so much messiness. There were boundaries in relationships. You don't know where you've crossed it. Is that infidelity or not? People are consuming this content and people are writing it now. So we are openly talking about all these different things, and these are characters who have a career, who have a family, who have a conscience in the world that they exist in. They have like different layers of personality. It's not just their one and only thought is not a boyfriend. So I think we are going in that direction. But that said, I am a sucker for happy endings, and I want that in my novels, and I want that in the novels that I read. Even it can be a serious topic. It can be really like grim. A book can be dealing with really hard-hitting themes. But at the end of the day, when I leave it, I want to leave it at a hopeful note. It doesn't have to be outright. Obviously, not everybody is going to get along. Not everything is going to be fixed overnight. But at the same time, when you leave the book and you don't want to feel all that weight on your shoulder now, it shouldn't be transferred from the book to the person. That's not what I write. That's not what I want to put out in the world.
Well said.
Thank you.
So what are your thoughts on monogamy?
It works for the people it works for.
Okay. The trend currently, because we are talking about social media and
I think, there is nothing wrong with multiple partners. As long as
feeling its moment in the sun right now. So I would love to hear what you think of that.
I just think as long as all parties involved are aware of what it is, because I think I was writing about this recently too in another project that I'm working on, that some people want to invest only like enough, just enough to keep the other person, to like string them along and keep them interested. And that's wrong, because the other person thinks that they're the only one, and they are giving their 100, and there's this person who is dating like 5 different people, giving each of them like 20 and getting like 500 in return, and all of these people are going to be heartbroken in the end.
Nice so mathematical equation from that.
I know, yeah, I'm really smart. But so that's wrong. That's like ethically incorrect. Like that's not how it should work. But I think it's okay for like two people to just have fun if that's what both of them know is happening. And also, guys, there are STDs, they're real. So when a situation like this happens, every party should be informed of multiple partners. If you have multiple partners,
have safe sex.
Yes.
I like
protection.
How became a PSA officer. So romance, but also condoms.
Yes, please. Thanks.
So let's play a game.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what we do always on the Books on Toast channel.
Okay.
We play games with her.
Okay.
And we call that part the clickbait round, in the hope that it'll generate some sort of controversial answer. And
so you just want a title. Yeah.
Yeah. But that never happens. It never happens. But you know, there's like Nikita said, we should always end on a hopeful note.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe this is it. Though she has called Trump an asshole, so we have something to go with.
I mean, I don't think it's my opinion that Trump is an asshole. I think it's a fact. So, like, who cares? I mean, it's not like I thought of it. I'm not an original thinker in this. So, yeah. It's just a fact.
This is a quite popular, it's popular fact.
Popular opinion, yeah.
Popular, what, fake, real news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake news, hashtag fake news.
So we're going to play a game.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is, because your bibliography sounds like a Selena Gomez album, and I know that I've said this to you before.
Yeah, last year.
I mean, like a love song,
she needs
a Selena Gomez song.
You need new.
I need new questions.
Yeah.
I need new questions.
Okay.
So what I want to do is I want to throw real life couples at you and give me Nikita Singh book titles or even romance novel book titles for their love stories.
I suck at titles.
Let's start with Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra.
We just talked about that today. Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra.
Who isn't talking about them today?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't talk about them every day. I don't. Nick Jonas, and I don't want to say anything mean.
Why?
I don't know. They haven't done anything wrong to me in my life.
Yeah. I'll do it.
Okay, you do it. Yeah, that's
the
what
longest publicity tour ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it works. Yeah.
Okay, now I've given you 2, so you have to do something with the next one. Okay. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
An uninteresting love story.
Okay.
No one. I don't know why people care.
No, people don't. I think
the media cares.
No, in their case, it's interesting. It was interesting because she's, the first black royal princess.
But she's but she is the whitest black person ever.
Yes, but she's still mixed race, so there's something. It's a start.
But she doesn't talk like them. Yeah. She doesn't act like them. She doesn't champion any of their causes. Yeah, I don't know.
She said it. How Alia and Ranbir? Don't hold yourself back.
They deserve each other.
I'm sure she means that in a warm, fuzzy way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're both good actors.
Yeah. I mean, that much is indisputable. Yeah. They are both good actors.
Okay, let's try one more. Okay. Deepika and Ranveer.
I mean, they both broke my heart at the same time. So, I don't know. I took it personally. This time it's personal.
Oh, nice. So you think Deepika is hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you this question. Is there a same-sex love story, romance book anytime on the horizon? Do you think India is ready for one?
I don't know if India is ready for one, but at the same time, I don't really care. After I finish writing a book, I'm like, okay, if I like this, and my hope is that people would like it. Luckily, it has worked out so far. But at this point, I cannot care less about who's ready for what.
Do you think you will ever write one?
It just happened organically in the book that I'm working on right now.
I'm so good at this.
It happened organically that like she's just dating around in New York, and then she dated some girls, and then I was like, well, does this mean that her character is bisexual now? So then she's gay, and now it becomes a thing, and I need to address it. And then I was like, well, no, I don't think so. She's just dating people. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think you need
so
to
I just moved
on. I think the less we make it conspicuous, the more acceptable.
Yeah,
and the
it's not a book about a gay person or a bisexual person. It's just a book about someone who's dating.
That's lovely. Yeah. Okay, Kim and Kanye. You thought we were done.
Kim and Kanye. I don't know. Who cares?
Who cares is good. Who cares? Lots of people care.
I mean, at this point, like Kanye originally with his music, everybody loved him. And he produced some really good music. But at a certain point now, if anything, he's just bringing down the Kardashian name. Because he's doing nothing. And she's just carrying both of them.
So, Nikita, we ask this question to everyone who comes to our channel, almost everyone. And so you also have to answer, because I love checking out what you're reading on your Instagram, because it's always fantastic recommendations.
Yeah.
And she does little reviews as well.
Yeah.
So, what are you reading right now?
Yeah, I try to keep the reviews as positive as possible. I say all the good things about it, and then the bad, like I just a little bit. I'm reading 2 books right now. I started reading All the Light We Cannot See, but because it's a bigger book and I was going to be traveling, so then I picked up The Hate You Give, which has been on my bookshelf forever, and so I'm halfway through both of them.
Okay, which one do you like more?
So far, it's much easier to read The Hate You Give. So, and also I'm listening to the audiobook at the same time, which is a great experience, because I love when they do accents like different. You feel the entire atmosphere, so I'm enjoying it more. All the Light You Cannot See, I feel like that one might end up being a better book, but it's longer and it takes more from you.
Yeah.
So I'll take my time reading it. Yeah.
Okay, it was awesome talking to you.
Same.
Thank you for all the wonderful book celebrity relationship love story book titles. I got that right in one time. I'm amazing.
I gave you like horrible titles. They would never make clickbait.
We'll do it.
Okay.
We'll try something.